In the last video of the WRX, this thing almost killed me, and it's been sitting here ever since. So it's been about a week. And to give an overview, this thing, on the test drive of this car, I wanted to test the brakes. And so I slammed on them, and the brakes just disappeared on me. And at the end of that last video, and this is locked. At the end of that video, I showed what I found so far, and I didn't really look that much, but I put the clip of the leak that I basically found in this area. And as far as I know now, the only leak I have is in this area. And to fix this, I'm gonna be basically cutting the hard line right about here and replacing all of it back towards the wheel or towards the caliper. I'm doing that because my issue is right around here. That's where it usually happens for most people. Coming to under the back seat, so I already took it off. And you can see down here is where the brake lines run from inside the car, and then it goes down through this hole, which is plugged up with this rubber thing. And then right around after this plug, it's hard to see right now, but right around after this plug is where all the issues happen and where the rust builds up. And I mentioned this in the other video, but this is a common issue with a lot of Subarus, and there are some Subarus that had a recall and Subaru was actually fixing it for free. But for some reason, this WRX doesn't fall under that, even though it has the exact same issue. Now this is all the stuff I'm probably gonna reuse, and the box just broke in my hand. Here we go. First thing you need, obviously the brake lines. And then this one actually came with, where is it? Oh, it's 2 bags. So this one came with like a mix of fittings, and the only ones I will need, so these 4 is actually what came in this pack with the lines, and I'm going to be using these sizes. So it comes with a bunch of other similar fittings, but the outside thread is different. And now these 2 I actually had to buy separately because on Amazon the fastest shipping one was 2 weeks long. So I ended up buying this from a local store, and what this is a union fitting, and what it does is takes these fittings and basically connects 2 of them together. And so what's going to happen is that my old brake line is going to be coming in through one side, and I'm going to be cutting it right there and then connecting the new one on this side. As of now, I only need 1. If everything goes to plan, this one is just extra for now, and I will just need 2 of these as well, and these 2 will be extra too. So this is what I need because I'm just going to be doing 1 line for now. Depending if I somehow find out there's more issues, then I might need some more. But for now, I'm going 1 line, which means I'm doing only 1 cut, which means I only need 1 set of these. Then here, I had to buy these too because I don't have these. Is just the tool that basically bends these pipelines to shape. And hopefully these are actually easy to use because I've never tried them. Next up is a pipe cutter. Again, never use this. And oh, just to be clear, this is a 3/16 inch pipe, and that's what I think is in most Subarus. So all these tools have to just match up to this pipe sizing. Same with this thing. And finally, for tools, this is a double flaring tool, and this is used to flare the end of the pipe. And once again, never used it, so I had to buy that, and hopefully not too bad to use. This probably looks the most complicated, but I'll figure it out. That's the end of the mandatory tools. I got some stuff just to help out. Just PB blaster that hopefully I don't need too much of. And I also, most people, so there are a couple videos that actually show you how to do this, so you can use those too to get more info. But one thing that they don't use, or I haven't seen yet, is this tape, and I don't know what the proper name for this is. This one specifically is just named Masters Orange T-tape. Well, I don't know what the proper name for it is, and it's just something that you use on fittings that have like liquid going through it, or I guess you could use for air, like air stuff too. But what I'm going to use this for is wrapping it around all the threads, which will kind of act like a gasket and just help seal it from the fluid leaking out. Most people didn't use it and it seemed to work anyway, but this is just an added backup to make sure nothing leaks. And starting off, you would have to take off this plastic piece, this cover that was here. I already took it off in the previous video, but I'll do the other side so you can kind of see how it goes. Pretty simple, although there was a tab here, but for some reason mine's, oh no, there it came out. So that goes over there, but the one over there just came out with it, so I don't know why that one didn't pop up. Both sides are off, and now bar's next, and I'm taking it off so I can get to the lines more easily because this is where I'm doing all the cutting. I think this should come off. Yep. Now this thing, I took this off in the previous video, so if you're taking this off for the first time, it's going to be a little tight on there, and you just have to like peel it from the sides and just get it to come out of the hole. So it looks like this is not actually that easy to take completely up the lines because these are actually pretty tight down. So what I tried to do was go underneath and loosen it so that I can pick up the lines. As you can see now, I can lift it, but if we go down here, you can see the mess that it's making. But if you come here, you'll see this little, I guess, joint or joining point, and you can see that it has 4 fittings on it. There's one here, but I think it's just too dark to see. But as you can see, there's nothing connected to it, so you should have this line and this line connected to here and there, and then on this side one here, which is also back there, and then one right there that you can see is still connected. So this is the point where it joins the 2 lines from under the seat, which is right here. The hole comes down here, goes into this, and then it splits again to 2. One goes to the wheel down there, and then one goes to the one right beside us. And well, as you can see, I was trying to take off this nut so that the whole thing can be loosened and I could take that whole thing up. But as I was trying to loosen this, which was super rusty, both these lines broke and this one broke. So what originally was an issue for just this line for me, there was a small hole on it. Now I got all of these. This guy is the only one that survived. The good news is that at least now I know that I should fix all of these instead of just the one. With mine perfectly broken, how nice of the car to help me, I can actually pick this up off and this thing just slides off easily. But you can see right here, this is where it broke. What I'm going to be doing is just taking the line from here and straight away going right to the caliper there without using that joint. And I'm not a professional, but I think that's just a point where it kind of mounts so it's not moving all over the place, but mine's not coming out and it should work without it. With the wheel off, you can see after the lines go beside the fuel tank, it then comes right over here, down and up into the soft line, which then goes to the caliper. I'm replacing everything from the inside of the car all the way up to this point, and this is just for the passenger side rear wheel. I still have to see what it looks like on the other side, but I'm gonna work on this one first and then deal with the other one later. After I get this off, I should be able to just pull the line out of here. Actually, if you can see, I think this end is breaking too. I'm like slowly unscrewing this, but I don't think the pipe's even like properly connected to it anymore. Oh, there you go. There you go. Wait, I can't see. Oh, there you go. I can't figure out how to get this brake line out, and I'm pretty sure all this stuff has to come down to actually get those out because it's just kind of on top of everything. So I'm gonna leave those in. Next spring the whole subframe's coming down anyway, and then I'll just take those out. For now I think it's fine if I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm gonna go ahead and cut these right here kind of on the straight and then kind of see where I go from there. Oh, did I just break this? So I'm gonna go somewhere just before the straight, and you definitely have to do it before any of the rust because you can see even up here, like the color's fine, but you can see there's like a weird bubble on there because I'm pretty sure there's rust underneath. These are my cuts, and just in case you have more fluid than I do, just make sure you either like collect anything that comes out of here or clean this up because brake fluid can ruin the paint, so I'm gonna go clean this up. With both sides removed now, I'm gonna start prepping the new line. Before I start, I practiced some flaring just to make sure it comes out nice. What my plan is for now, I'm gonna start with the whole thing. I'll start with this end, which I'm gonna be putting on the wheel side, and then just unwrap it as much as I need into the car, and then at some point I'll have to cut it and then shove it through the hole over there. But I'm gonna start with the whole thing and just work from there. This goes on first before you flare the end, and you have that on one end. This side gets flared, with this tool, which I'll do in a sec. And then once I find the length I want, I'm going to cut it again and then basically do exactly what I'm doing now to the other side. Then both sides will have this end on it, and then this thing is the same as this, but it also screws into the bottom of this where I took out the old pipe. In this kit, you got this clamp plus all the dies. So the clamp for this line, I'm using 3/16 hole, which is the smallest one on this one. And then same with the die, you're gonna pick the one that says 3/16. Probably not gonna focus, but it says 3/16. Fitting goes on first. Clamp down the line. The amount of line that's sticking out actually depends on the thickness of this. So you wanna have this line sticking out of the clamp as much as the thickness of the base of this die. So I'm going to set it beside it and then just move the clamp so that the line and the thickness of the base of the die is about the same height. Okay. The line's a bit taller, but I'm gonna quickly file the end of it just so it's a little bit more flat, because this end actually did just cut when I did my practice flares, so I forgot to file this down. Take the die, put it inside the line, and then this clamp wraps around the whole thing. I have to get it open. This is the way it's set up. Clamp going to the die. Die is going to press against the line. And you can start tightening this thing all the way down. And now this is flared. And now you see you can bring the fitting up and it doesn't come out anymore. I got the bend roughly shaped going towards the rear seats, and then now on this end that's going to go up the seat, but that whole roll's not going to fit, so I just kind of guessed a little extra, and then I'm going to try to shape it and feed it up through the hole over there. Just to give an idea of what I'm trying to do, so I have it now out again. So I have this front end fine, that's shaped, but now this part is a little tricky. So I left a lot of extra, so it's actually more difficult to fit everything through. So I just kind of put it beside the car from here, tried to line up that end as much as I could, and then kind of guess where the curve needs to come. And then once I just get through that hole, then you can kind of bend everything from there. So just about got that out, and I'm just going to try to force everything into shape now. As you can see, it's still, the line's way down there. This one's still not matching, so I'm just using my hand for now to bend this, and then once I want like a precise bend, that's when I'm using the tool. On the opposite side of the car, I just left that one sticking up for now, because I want to do this end before I completely connect that side. So I'm going to do this one, and I'm thinking, I'm not sure what the best way to do it is, but this thing here, this little rubber thing, actually has an extra little hole here. It doesn't have a hole through it, but I have to poke a hole through it, but it's not being used. And the original brake line for this side caliper actually goes through that same hole and then under somewhere here and then to the caliper, and that seems like a lot of work to figure out, and I'm pretty sure I won't be able to because those lines actually go on top of the subframe. So I'm not going to be able to do it without taking out the subframe. So what I'm going to do, as I saw someone else actually do this, is run the line from there, come across on top, so the seats are going to cover it anyway, and then use this hole, try to go directly to the wheel. Line going through the little rubber thing, goes down See if I can get it. Oh, there it is. It goes down and then just follows straight towards the caliper. Here it comes in behind everything, and then it stops over here. This is just extra, but I have to bend it and then connect it right here. Now I have all the flaring stuff here, and let's see if I can do it while in here. It'll be a little tricky. It was a good idea to go in from this side, and since this distance is not too long, it wasn't too bad. Once you kind of navigate through that, it comes straight here, and then now I can like feed it in and feed it out as much as I need, and then that end is still connected to the roll, so I can cut it later to whatever I need over there. Both side lines are finally where it needs to be. So this one that goes to the driver's side back wheel, that's going on the right one, and then this one from the wheel on this side is going to this left one. Before I do the whole thing off camera, what's going to happen is this fitting's on this side, this fitting is going to be on this side, both sides are going to be flared, this end, and then finally this comes in between them. This screws into one side, then that screws into the other side, and that's going to make them one line. Same thing with these, I'm going to do with this line with the left one. All the fittings are on. I suggest for this line at least, make sure you cut it a little further down, because I just realized this got super tight and I kind of ruined the pipe a bit with trying to bend it. If I were to do this again, I'll cut it a little further down so I have more time to straighten out this line. But since I already did it, I'll just try to make it work. And I think it's fine. I'm just going to tape these up and then join them in. Bad news for me, well, you can see I finished this up. Everything's tied up there. But now, it was my mistake, but so I was trying to screw this one in. And so far I've been just kind of threading in like 2 threads and just leaving it there. And now when I went to tighten it, the thread just kind of slipped. And hopefully I didn't ruin the thread, but I just remembered that the thread on this is actually M10 by 1. So that was also the thread of the old fitting. And this is the new one that I bought. And I just remembered that this one is actually 3/8 by 24, I think. This hopefully is not too horrible, but what I'm gonna have to do now is cut this, because I already flared it, and then get this fitting out, put the proper fitting on, and then flare it again. I didn't try the other side yet, but it's obviously gonna be the same issue. And what's worse is that rust. Let's hide that. And what's worse is that the only store I know that has it is not open on weekends, so I'm gonna have to be back in like 2 days. Time traveling back from the future, and I managed to get these cute little purple ones. More importantly, we gotta see if the thread's right. Here we go. Yep. I'm gonna have to cut it and then reflare it, which is not gonna be fun. I think I'm officially done. I'm gonna go again, tighten everything, or just check if it's tight. But I'm pretty sure I'm done. Last thing to do now is bleed the brake fluid, and I went out and picked this thing up, which is basically like making a bottle with a tube in it. But I didn't have the tubes. I thought I had some at home, but since I went out, I saw this thing and thought I might as well try it. It's not that expensive. And then brake fluid, I bought like 2 bottles just in case, and then brake cleaner, don't need that now, but I finished my other one doing this stuff, so should be the final step of filling it up and basically checking for leaks. Fingers crossed there's no leaks, but they could be, so should check right now before actually driving the car. The car has a nice coat of snow. Brakes have been bled, and it's actually been a couple of days since the last clip. It's only because I wanted to test the brakes like at least for a few days and not just trust one test. But everything's good. Nothing leaked from this, because this was at least the most concerning part to trust, but it looks perfectly fine. I also ended up doing the brake pads, so I got to at least have a good look at the nuts on these end as well, and it's perfectly fine. So the brakes feel good again, and the fix worked pretty good for me. If anything happens, I'll give an update on it, but for now, looks like it's pretty good.